What's going on, everybody? 1 o'clock Eastern. Hope everybody's excited. This is short. This is going to be short, to the point, and badass. I think this is going to be fun. Talk of the town is AI. We're calling it AIO. I've seen GEO. What have you seen, Rob? AESO. You seen what acronyms have you seen?
Yeah, AEO, AIO. Sometimes even like the generative engine optimization, differentiating GEO from AIO.
AEIOU.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll agree eventually, but for now it's just alphabet soup. Yeah.
Cardinal as the leader, the leader of thoughts of healthcare marketing. We should. I'm going with AIO.
I like AIO.
Let's go AIO because it's got the O at the end. It's just like AI, like SEO. And anyways, guys, welcome back to a Cardinal event. They haven't let me host one in a long time, so this is very nice of them. They don't trust me to do these anymore because they say weird shit. So this is very nice of them. Rob will do most of the talking. He's our SVP of Owned and Earned Media. He's the wizard behind all of our AIO innovations. So we're going to have a ton of fun learning from him and some conjecture on what's going on. The key for me in this one was to come with tactical stuff we've done and seen. Okay. At the end of the day, all of us are wondering, is it taking traffic? Is it taking leads? Is it taking patients? How do I find out? How do I analyze? How do I get the recommendation? And how do I measure? We're going to answer all of that fun shenanigans today. And we have 3 client case studies, and clients that are on this, don't worry, your name's not on it. But thank you for allowing us to work on your project. And we've shown some of the results of some of the stuff that we've been up to. So this is going to be a very fun time today for the next half hour. I only got 28 minutes and the team is yelling at me to stop talking. Are you even dead yet, Rob? Are you all right? Is SEO dead? I fucking love that people have been wondering when SEO is going to die. Since I started Cardinal, this thing is supposed to be dead. Is it dead? Are we dead?
No, I don't think we're dead. I think it's just changed. I mean, it's the same answer over and over again, it feels like. And it feels like it just must get a lot of clicks out there by talking about it because people love to put it out there. But it's definitely not dead. The stat we were tossing around the other day is that lots more people are using language models, but 95+ % of them are all still using Google. Yeah. So all the people who've migrated over, they're still coming back. And even some of our largest clients where we're tracking leads that are coming through LLMs, it's such a small percentage of the whole still. So even where we are getting visibility, there's a ton of value in AIO, but it's not quite yet where people, at least in healthcare, are quite ready to directly convert in from.
No, it's an education tool so far. Do I need a dermatologist if I have this thing going on? Do I need a cardiologist if my heart is bad? It seems to be an educational thing and a top of the funnel thing, which is really fun. People are still going to Google to find the dermatologist and the cardiologist. So guys, your traffic, yeah, it's probably getting busted. Your leads are not though. And you know what's fun, Rob, about all this stuff? Everyone's always been saying SEO is dead because it's free leads and stuff like that. Can't wait for the replacement. Then Google's gone. The replacement is now here. And it's actually not taking the leads from the Google or the Bing. And in fact, it is proving that people will want results they can trust from one platform or another and not all advertising. So SEO is now back to its renaissance. But what happens to AI if users? I don't trust it sometimes because I asked it, when does OAR come on? And they told me 5 o'clock, and me and my wife got there, and then they didn't come on till 9 o'clock. So AI is not always right, is it?
No, and I think that's the big, especially if you take perspective from the AI groups. This is what keeps them up at night. You love asking your clients, what keeps you up at night? Well, what keeps them up at night is that, I think the biggest threat to AI right now is if people don't trust it. If it turns out to be not very accurate or not very good, then people aren't going to use it, and it's already changed. I mean, I think even 2 months ago, everyone was on a high and ChatGPT is so great. It gives me everything I need. It's fast. It's furious. All of a sudden, a few months later, people are already saying like, it's not right all the time. And sometimes it's kind of a, hyper positive psychopath type, you're so funny, Alex. All your ideas are great. You should do everything just like you said. And is that always right?
Yes.
No. And, it's just, it can't survive if it's not going to be accurate, which the good news is that's translating to strategies to help win in AI, which is if we know that what AI is up at night worrying about is bad answers, then you can infer, and we've seen this already in the work we've done, that backed up, data-backed, strong articles, strong content with providers associated with it, linked to other data sets, internal links to other research studies. These are things that gives AI confidence in citing and presenting your brand. So now more than ever, data freshness, content freshness and content accuracy, and then we kind of refer to as entity SEO, which is people, places, and data things. Even it's so important because again, AI can't afford to be wrong.
It's like, well, yeah, and it's not up all night wondering. It's plotting it's demolition of the human species all day. It doesn't even wait for night. It's just plotting it. The fun thing that I've seen that through your work, your team's work, is that it's actually giving the small fry another chance to beat the big guy. Like that's what was cool about SEO 16 years ago when it started. Cardinal was David could beat Goliath, because if you're better at SEO, it was like the level playing field. Now AI is again, we'll see it in the work that you show later, but you get some you get some PR, some good reviews and all that stuff in your local market. If you're an MSO, DSO, multi-brand, you really can beat the big dogs because you'll be the first to it. All right, I don't want to steal your thunder. So AI goes on signals to make the recommendation. What are the signals, Mr. Rouse?
I mean, it's exactly what you were saying, which I think is cool, is that the signals are a lot of the data-driven stuff, a lot of the high content. It's looking at more, and I think everyone knows this by now, but it's looking at a lot more than what just SEO is looking at. An SEO was mostly just trying to get you to the right page. AI has to come up with a recommendation, a specific outcome, so it has to ingest information from a lot of places, and it's really looking for the opportunity to try to be very specific, but it has to again be accurate. But it gives you a bigger view, and things like reviews, things like again, we talk about this one a lot because it's a really impactful one, especially in healthcare, but even your own provider satisfaction scores, how your employees think of you, is stuff that's being pulled in from these signals. And we have a list here, and we'll obviously send this out to be transparent.
Leave it up for a second. So is it looking at reviews like before it recommends a dermatologist or dermatology group? Is it looking at Glassdoor where employees are referring? Mm-hmm. Obviously, I know the answer. I just wanted to leave.
Yeah. It'll not only will it pull Glassdoor in AI results, it will actually quote occasionally what specific people said, and it will say this is from Glassdoor, or this is from Reddit, or this is from some other place. So usually it will try to back itself up. So if it says employee satisfaction is an all-time low, it'll literally say, here's an example from Debbie on Glassdoor, who said like this company treats me terribly, and that's
terrible,
not
Debbie.
ideal.
Debbie Downer. Guys, and we're going to send this out in case you want to see the ranking signals. If you had to do a summary of it, it's reviews, press mentions, and then all of the SEO stuff you should be doing anyways. Would you summarize it that way? The big difference from SEO is it does look at reviews, unlike the Google, and it does care. Google cared somewhat about PR because it was the backlink and the best kind of backlink. This cares more, and it cares about where you rank in U.S. news and health. And if you're not a health system, it cares about if your docs have been top docs. All fair?
Yeah, and especially in like the middle market, even like smaller market industries in healthcare, just that's a lot of that local community stuff is so much more important than you think in regards to getting that.
All right, let's keep rolling. And it gives you a leg up too if you can get some of those high schools to mention you.
Yeah. I mean, this is to the same point. It's I think something that I've seen a lot of people surprised in as we've audited, as we've talked to our current customers, et cetera, is that it's not difficult for me to pull up the citations report. So we can ask AI lots of great questions. We can ask it to compare the different competitors for our client in a very specific market, et cetera. And outside of our like hospital system type clients, I think that a lot of people are kind of surprised that, oh, wow, the places it's citing from are all sort of within my control, or at least my influence. It's like you mentioned, reviews, it's local hubs. It's, to your point, like high schools, it's other, again, like authority figures in the space. It's obviously your website, your competitor's website. There are times where clients are like, I don't like the AI's talking about that. Where's it getting that information? I was like, oh, that's your website. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it turns out you guys stopped doing press releases like 4 years ago, but AI is literally still pulling information from some of your press releases because it's, in theory, the most updated information on the topic. And it's outdated.
And that's what we've got comments, and I'm looking at them. And Mr. Patrick Sullivan says, does the press include owned media? The answer is yes. It's looking at all of the media you are putting out. It does care about your own PR. I love that. I love talking about myself. And finally, AI does too. That's
I mean,
cool.
fact of the matter is, for some of these mid-market companies, there aren't that many other people talking about you, except for yourself, maybe your competitors, and again, your review, your employee, your ecosystem. So that's the whole interesting point, is that you can influence and control so much of it. And until you really get a chance to understand what AI is pulling, you don't really know where those blind spots are or work.
Yeah. And we'll get
I've had
into
a few
what
clients who were like, "Oh my God, AI said that."
Yeah, and it'll be cool. We're going to show how you can query it to find out. And Krista Ross says signals show that AI prefers long-established big companies before small companies. But guys, if you're House of Brands, you're all small companies because you're Dr. Cindy's dental office and there's Dr. Jim doesn't really have a lot of PR. So if you're MSO, DSO, House of Brands, you definitely can take advantage of that. All right, Mr. Rob.
It depends. It's a good comment because yes, big companies do have an advantage. They have more data, more information, probably more research, et cetera. But if you're looking at that hyper local prompt, you're looking at that hyper local outcome, that there still is, to your point, an opportunity to compete. Maybe not nationally. There's a case study we have on that later. You might not be able to compete, sort of in a national viewpoint, but that's sort of not the point when you're, a DSO and you have local dentists. You don't care if your brand is national. That's, Dr. Alex's Dental down the street just needs to win in the locality.
No, not winning. I haven't gone in for damn teeth cleaning in way too long. My wife reminds me every day. All right, let's keep rolling. Let's show them.
Yeah, we talked about this, I think, so we can kind of keep going here. But yes, this is like that nuance of big versus local. I mean, the big companies, the health systems we've worked at, it's hard. It is harder to move the needle, but we know that. I mean, they've been ranking best hospitals in America since hospitals, the press was invented years and years ago. So it does require a lot more national PR, thought leadership, elevation of celebrity type doctors and things like that, trusted citations. But when you are smaller, there is a lot more flexibility in regards to putting out the right content, the tools, engaging with your local ecosystems, engaging with your target audience, being altruistic in the content that you publish. Clients and patients, they want to hear from you and what makes you special and great. And that's a big part of this, but it's also important to also be a resource for them. We're not trying to trick them into getting care with us. We're trying to have them we want to earn the care. And sometimes it does help to show them, here's other options in your community for support on these types of things, be it addiction, especially, or ABA therapy. There's a community-driven aspect to that. It gets a little different in braces, but it's important to be that patient-centric source, community-centric source.
Yes, sir.
Now for the fun.
This is our first time doing a live stream on LinkedIn. So yeah, it's a little quirky and we're screwing some of the transitions up and stuff. Expect more of the screwery. But you can put your comments in there. I'll keep an eye on the team telling me to shut up, but I'll look for cool comments and interject when. Keep going, Mr. Rob.
Yeah. So now it's the fun part. So now it's, time for case studies. And we tried to put 3 very different problems. So we tried to come up with case studies that, whether you are very aggressively trying to win in AI, or just figuring out okay, I don't have anything. I have no idea. I haven't even started yet. What do I do? How do I attack this? We try to talk about all of that. So this first case study is one I think is super common. I see this all the time when I'm auditing clients, is that at the end of the day, most of our clients in most of the healthcare space, not all of it, but most of it, focuses on care. You provide care. Now, obviously, in healthcare especially, pretty much in everything, there has to also be a problem. So in this case, there's conditions, there are addictions, there are, there's cancer. There's all kinds of problems out there. And what a lot of times we've seen is that brands are trying to dominate and write a ton of content and information on the problem. But now with AI and being less of a, keyword-based space, none of the the care brands are the authority on the problem. So, for example, if you have a specialized service that can support, oncology, you're probably not the Cancer Research Center of America. People aren't going to go because you have this one element of care, and they're not going to look for your opinion on that, or even addiction, et cetera. There are these massive resources for that, research hospitals maybe being the outlier. But what you can really position yourself for is that care. And this is a case study where we worked with a client and we specifically helped them change their direction, where they really wanted to continue to push down this idea of, we want to own the problem space, the disease space. And we have all this content and research and guides, But when we showed them in AI who they were up against, it was just impossible. They were getting almost no visibility in AI on the actual problem. They were getting almost no visibility or ranking or citations on the actual disease. And we help them understand that that's not what you want to be. And we need to focus on who you really are, which is the care, the care you provide. So what we're able to do and within the AI platforms and the tools is not only set up a baseline and measurement, but create also a roadmap of focusing on very patient-centric care stories, very outcome-based care stories, things like hearing directly from patients and families to just talking about statistics and outcomes, more aggregate. And we really saw, and you can see here, we're seeing upward momentum and upward trajectory and visibility. And that visibility in this case is focused specifically on their version of care. And it's not shown here because we were trying to be respectful of brands and logos, but they're the number one ranked or sort of visible. They're the most visible brand across AI as measured through this approach, which is all 8 different AI platforms. For what they do, for their care. And they're one of the few, they're outpacing their competition by focusing, again, less on the diseases, the causes, and the symptoms, and more on the care, the
Rob,
outcomes.
can you give us an example, and don't use the client's vertical? Give us another one.
Yeah, let me think of a good one. All right, so this is not this client's vertical, but I'll kind of use it. So addiction. Let's pretend this company was an addiction company. It wasn't, but an example would be the company, all they want to write about is, what is smack and what are the symptoms? What are the signs and symptoms that my son is using smack or using drugs or using cocaine or, can I take cocaine and smoke weed at the same time? Like things that are often searched, things that are searched a lot and have a lot of visibility, but that's not, I've even seen it in audits. A lot of addiction centers, according to Google, are drug dealers. All they're talking about is drugs. So, in this case, it would be telling that client, people aren't taking drug advice from you. They have drug dealers for that, but there's also big company and big organizations out there that talk about drugs. The war against drugs, the government. There's all kinds of information on cocaine and the side effects, etc. What patients care about when they want to talk about your brand. So in this example being, let's say, a treatment center, they want to know that you are the authority and can provide good, unique, outcome-driven care, and they want to hear about that. And if you're more visible for that, it will drive more leads. If you're more visible for the uniqueness of your care, not just don't just say we provide care. What do you do best? What type of care? What are the outcomes? What are the insights?
Would you create? So what are we talking about? Expanding service, condition, treatment pages, blog pages that are specific to these keywords. Tactically, what would you do?
Yeah, so tactically, for this sample, sticking with addiction for this, we would talk about we would reduce some of the content on the other stuff. There's noise. You don't want your site to be too noisy. You have to narrow it down. So there might be a case of actually reducing. In some cases, we can leave the content there, maybe just no index it, for example. But we want to get it away from the algorithms. And then what we'd want to do is focusing on your differentiator and specifically the care element. So we'd focus on, how many people are graduating, from your addiction center, and do they go on to living better, fulfilled lives? Tell some stories, create some videos, create some outcomes, and really try to focus again on, and it's different for every opportunity, every locality. We do research on competitors, et cetera, to try to find the right, niche and area to focus on. But you want to be truthful to what you are and who you are and what you do as an organization. And again, if you're a care organization, you might be able to steal some eyeballs talking about, drugs, but that's not why people come to your facility. They're not there to learn about drugs. They're there to understand.
They learned everything they need to know. I love that. All right, sounds good. And so outcome patient testimonial-based content, very helpful. I love it. What else we got?
This one I like a lot. So this is another great case study that we've found. This is not always true, but it is true sometimes. And what it is if you have great SEO and you're dominating in the SERP, does that mean my AI is great also? No, it doesn't. Not always. Sometimes, yes, there are clients where like, hey, we got your SEO flying. We're just going to start some LLM tracking and insights, and turns out you guys are kicking butt in AI too. It happens the good way, but it also happens the bad way. And this is sort of the eye-opening one, which we had, where we had a client that was truly dominant in near me in specific regions for their service. But when we turned on the AI tracking a few months back to analyze how they were doing, and we used geo-modified tracking in the prompts. So this was all about, let's just say Atlanta. It wasn't, but for this case, we'll use Atlanta as the example. So, again, I'll use an example. Urgent care near me. It wasn't an urgent care client. But let's just say they were number 1 in urgent care near me in Atlanta. This client would have been number 12 in visibility in urgent care Atlanta in AI. That's a long way. There aren't that many urgent care places in Atlanta. How could they be so far behind in AI? Well, it turns out the way AI in many cases was identifying that sort of prompt was a bit different than how SEO was. So in this case, it would say in the example for this actual client, it was based more on the provider. So what we found was AI was actually looking to understand, well, who are the providers? Let's use primary care as a better example than urgent care, because primary care is generally associated more to a physician than urgent care, sort of whoever's available. So it would say, all right, well, who is the best primary care physician near me? That would be one they dominated in SEO, but because their content didn't really focus on their physicians, their content didn't really highlight or spotlight their individual providers and doctors, all these other doctors and providers were leapfrogging them in AI. And AI was saying, well, here's all these great providers and doctors you should consider in Atlanta. And since we weren't talking about that, we weren't showing up at all. And we were missing a huge opportunity to capture visibility from these very highly intent-based searches in AI. So we had to pivot, and we had to say, turns out that if people are doing a lot of prompting on provider, on physician type searches, we probably need to start elevating our doctors and start publishing content, featuring them in content, featuring them as snippets, and getting them a lot more publicity. And we did. And we start, it's tricky because there's turnover. You don't want to overinvest, et cetera. But we wanted to build out that opportunity to really elevate those individuals. And it turned into a big, as you can see here, a great story, as we were able to capture a lot more visibility in the space. And again, in this case, we went from being ranked 12th, 13th, 12th in some of the top prompts that we tracked. Now we're ranked like number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 9 in different variations of that near me prompt in this case, Atlanta. So it made huge progress. We were able to track specific progress. And what's even cooler with this client, we're actually even able to track specific traffic sessions and leads from language models. And we're actually able to see that grow as well. So as you can see, it's very similar. If you could overlap the timelines here, not only did it enable them to start getting more sessions, and this is, again, referred sessions, so someone from ChatGPT clicking on our client's brand site and going to their site, and then filling out a form to book an appointment and capture it as leads. So you'll see we went from, averaging, maybe 10, 20 leads a week to now averaging, well over almost 100 leads a week now, as we've made progress in that visibility. So this was a cool one that we could track all the way to the back
end. And we'll
end.
talk about tracking a little bit of measurement and how Rob's doing all this fancy measurement.
Yeah. Yep. All right. To keep moving fast, I'll try to go through this one more quickly, but we wanted to have an example that was for most of the listening audience probably that hasn't even jumped into this at all and maybe hasn't done any research or has no idea where they're positioned in AI. How can you start, and how have we helped other clients start? A lot of times in this example, there's a lot of parity. So, not the actual client, but let's just pretend braces. You can get braces probably at 5 different places in your neighborhood, and they're all, what's the difference? There's a lot of parity there. Is all the braces the same? I don't know. My kids aren't old enough yet. I'll figure it out later. But, it's generally pretty similar, I would imagine, a lot of parity. We helped a client who was like, I don't know. I don't know what our go-to-market message should be. I know what we do, but I also know our competitors do the same dang thing. We did a lot of research. We pulled up their competitors. We used AI to pull in sentiment scores. We used AI to pull in citations information and really try to understand and build out, here's how AI is presenting you. Here's how AI is presenting your competitors. This client actually was really upset with the way AI was presenting them. We thought it was very outdated. It turned out they just hadn't done a lot of content to re-educate AI or the market. So there was a big opportunity there. But it actually led from, hey, let's do a big SEO project to, you know what, let's actually take a huge step back and let's actually do a website project and let's try to figure out what the heck we're actually going to say and what we're going to do. Now we're creating really cool videos with AI. We're helping them with some PR updates. We're helping them build out guides and tools and just a lot more content to really commit to an actual market strategy and messaging strategy that can help them position and win. So it was a cool opportunity. This doesn't happen all the time. Usually clients are just like leads, now. But this was a good one where the client was like, you know what, Rob, I don't know what you're supposed to say in your content. Maybe we should take a step back and talk about it. And we did. And I thought that was a cool experience.
It's crazy that you can ask the LLMs why you're not ranking or how to get more of a recommendation. With Google over the last 16, 20 years, we've always just wondered and tried to stay ahead of the algo updates, and it was guessing. And now you can just say, why am I not getting the recommendation when your people are at? It's so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. What's so great about those competitors, and it'll kind of tell you what it thinks. So we're actually going to send this out, but there are some prompts that we use that we're going to give to you. I even did a little LinkedIn video with some of it in there. So, marketing will follow up with this, but there's some good, unique tools you can use right now today without any subscription, without any plan, without nothing to start to get understanding. And honestly, I highly recommend, if you don't know the answer to how is AI presenting my brand now, then you should go find out, because some of our clients are very surprised and sometimes very upset with what they learn that AI is talking about, that they didn't realize, people may be seeing. So the last topic, and we can do this quick, we're not on payroll for any of these platforms, but it's good to get you guys insight on how to measure. First and foremost, to start getting data now, there is ways you can do it free. I assume most of you probably have some kind of Google Analytics platform. It's not technically free, but if you have a Google Analytics, you can start tracking with just a few, audience-based filters, traffic, and if you have conversion signals in your Google Analytics, even leads and clicks, etc., from language models. So you could go set up right now with a little bit of knowledge on Google Analytics, how much traffic is coming in, how's it trended over time. It just takes a little clever filtering of referral traffic, and it can just help you figure out, like, oh, we're losing clicks in the top of the funnel, but are we picking up some, tangential stuff from language models? On the secondary side, it's basically become an absolute, arms race right now in the tracking space. All the major tools are coming up with their own language model prompt tracking. So, the AccuRankers, the SEMrushes of the world are coming up with theirs, but there's also other programs like Profound. They're all kind of centralizing around a $500 per domain price point. There's some flexibility in there around how many prompts you want, etc. But this is just like your traditional SEO tool where you can track keywords. You can actually go out there and, for about $500 a month, start tracking your visibility in language models in a very custom and specific way that you set up yourself. So it's a great opportunity if you're really looking for insights. You want to know how we're showing up. It tracks it over time. It tracks sentiment. It tracks your competitors. It's a cool tool. So again, if you have no clue how you're showing up,
Rob, what do you do if you're 100 location MSO DSO with different domains?
That's where it gets tricky. You could spend a lot of money setting up very, very specific stuff, but the way we've done it is we've tried to create geo-modified approaches to that, so you can start to understand, in certain cities, certain topics, etc., how you're showing. There's also some additional platforms. It's kind of a different view on it, but things like Scout and Sochi are also coming out with like very hyper local AI tools that can help show how your Google business profile and location page are stacking up as well. So those are a little more expensive, to be completely honest, but the tech's coming, and the visibility's really come a long way. And like I said, it's going to keep changing. They're going to start buying each other out. They're going to start edging each other out of the market. 20 years ago, there were probably 100 SEO tracking softwares. Now there's like 4 that, has any reasonable market share. Same with the AI. A lot of people use ChatGPT. Maybe that'll be the one. Maybe it won't. We'll have to see. But I could probably do an update on this every 6 months, and it would look different for a little while until we start to see the platforms and the technology start to level out. So.
I love it.
Cool. I know we're getting tight on time. I think I'll give one comment on this, and I think we're right here at the end. I've done a lot of these. I really do think the biggest miss right now, and what I hear most of the time as I'm talking to clients and auditing opportunities, is that they just don't know. I think most clients just truly don't know where or what AI said. They have no idea. Is my AI presence good? Is it bad? What's my sentiment? Do people like me? Do they not like me? If they do like me, what are they saying? I just think it's unknown. And I think, again, that's sort of the very first key step, is get the answer now, because when I give the answer, you'd be surprised how many of my clients take it to a board meeting. So get the answer now before the board starts asking for it, because I've been providing board meeting slides a lot lately. You should know what AI thinks and is saying.
It's like being back in high school.
It is.
I just want to know I'm cool. Will you just tell me I'm cool? Rob, this was awesome. And guys, Rob will walk you through all of this stuff. 2 more things to mention real quick. Go find Rob on LinkedIn or hit Cardinal up, and we'll connect you with Rob, and he'll give you an order at least 15 minutes on the phone and tell you where to go, point you in the right direction so you can order yourself. And number 2, Rob will be, and his team, we're going to have a variety of presentations on everything, AIO and SEO and links and PR and reviews and all that kind of fun stuff, as well as 50 panels, something crazy like that. That's scaling. Look, they did the thing right at the right time. Emily, well done. October 28th and 29th. It's complimentary this year. I'm making a big donation instead of ticket sales, making a big donation to a nonprofit here in Atlanta. And we already have exceeded the registering count for last year, which is crazy. And we have over a month to go. So there's going to be 2,000 plus healthcare marketers at this thing, even more in-depth conversations. And if you get Rob on the phone, he'll show more specific examples with you than we can do on a public forum. So Rob, this was awesome. It has been humbling, and I'm very proud to see Cardinal is leading the charge on this thing. AIO and SEO is cool again. It's awesome. It's awesome to see your team. I appreciate y'all leaning in and doing all this cool shit. What do you want people to do? You want them to find you on LinkedIn, hit Cardinal up? What do you want to do?
Yeah. I mean, look, we do huge audits. I mean, anytime clients are interested in figuring out what they can do and how we can help, I mean, there's always more. So yeah, keep an eye. We're posting all the time about this. It's it's the topic right now. And there's so much more happening.
Yeah.
With this stuff. It's crazy.
You know what's cool, and I took away from your presentation, is that AIO is taking into consideration how good a business is. It's what Google tried to do through their link juice algorithm. Like, if other people vote for you, like in high school, then you're cool. If they're cool, you must be cool. And now it takes into account business things like reviews and recommendation and PR. And it's looking at how much you feature your patient testimonials and your provider content. Rob, it's brilliant. I think you've changed the way a lot of us think. And maybe we're going back to business fundamentals. And then instead of just SEO wizardry, of modifying how people think and look at their own business. Hannah, thank you. And Heather cracked me up earlier when you used the addiction example. She said, holy smokes, that's an extreme example we get. We went right into addiction.
We get a lot of it. We get a lot of addiction, though. There's a lot of that going around. Yeah.
Unfortunately, America has a lot of it going around.
Top of mind. Yeah.
All right, guys, this was awesome. I hope you had fun. This is fun. Healthcare marketers is job security, because every 3 months we're either getting an algo update, or the LLMs are doing this. We're in media, MetaWorks, TikTok, this upper funnel, blah, 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 measurement. Keep fighting the good fight, my fellow healthcare marketers. It doesn't get easy, but it is always fun. And if you need anything, hang out with Rob. He loves new friends. Adios, amigos and amigas. Talk to you later. Thank you, team, for putting this together. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, thank you.